only under very strict conditions. So through open records, they will allow whoever requests it to view that video, but no recording whatsoever is allowed. On that note, we sent our IT producer, Kelsey Mittauer, to watch that video. She joins us now in studio to walk us through what you saw. We're going to go in order here in just a second, Kelsey, but in general terms, what did the video depict? What did you see?
It shows everything from the moments leading up to the stabbing to the medical response to then the beginning of the police investigation.
Okay, and it lasted several minutes is what they showed.
It did, about 30 minutes.
Okay, so let's start in the beginning now and talk a little bit about what you saw at the front end of that video, because you got to see the attack, the actual stabbing took place.
So it starts, I started watching about 9:53. The camera shows half of the field. So it's about from the 50-yard line on, and the tent where it happened was kind of right in front of the 50-yard line, but the camera is down here.
Okay.
It's positioned across the field. So everybody in the video, you can tell they are kids or adults, but no one's identifiable.
So a long shot is what
a long shot, yeah.
So a couple of minutes in, and you actually see the altercation take place.
Yes, everything leading up to it, everyone's milling about. It seems very normal, and then right at 9:55, that's when like there's this explosive movement or action between two people under the tent, and that's when the employees in the room told me that's when the stabbing happened at 9:55.
Right, and you were talking about people kind of start to scatter at that moment. Obviously, something went wrong. And so what happens next? Because now, a little bit later on, that's when the ambulance shows up.
Right. So when the ambulance arrives, it actually comes through near the end zone at the gate, and then it comes up to the 50-yard line directly in front of the tent. You can see Austin Metcalf is right here. But then when they pull up close to the tent, they realize that they can't get the stretcher to him because of the barrier of the bleachers. So at that point, then the paramedics have to get out, and then they have to walk all the way back to the end zone. This is actually, yeah, on the next slide. They have to go all the way back to the end zone and then come all the way back. That takes another couple of minutes. So at this point, they've arrived and they are actively working on Metcalf at that point.
And we want to reiterate, we're using some imagery here to sort of denote exactly what was happening here, these little icons that were using the ambulance, because, again, the video was not able to be released. You're watching all of this happen, Kelsey, and you're watching the time sort of elapse. What are you thinking about when you see this, especially when you see sort of the issues in getting Metcalf out of there?
I mean, you know, I understand why it happened the way it happened. They were still working on him, actually. The thing that really struck me is they're working on him, and that's when you see the rain's coming down heavier, and then they actually pull out the blue tarp.
The blue tarp that we saw.
Right, and then I noticed the crime scene tape is already up. I was so focused on here, I didn't even see that, but they're building the crime scene actively around him as they're continuing to work on him in the bleachers.
So that was happening while he was still there?
Yes, he's in the bleachers.
And in closing here, because we know that several minutes had elapsed, and people are sort of scurrying in different areas, what do we know about the suspect in the stabbing, Karmelo Anthony, and his whereabouts?
So I asked the women in the room, the employees, I said, of everybody on this screen, is Karmelo Anthony in here? And they said, you know, we couldn't tell you, we don't know. And honestly, it was so hard. Once it happened, you know, there's people going this way, that way, this way, and this way. So it was just hard to know what direction he headed.
All right, Kelsey, thank you very much.
So the tape is finally out. Well, it's not finally out. Not anybody can just watch it. Obviously, like they said on the news, they were able to see it, but they're not allowed to record it. They're not allowed to have it. They're not allowed to release it. But it pretty much confirms everything that everyone who's got two brain cells, who's on the right, who's mentally all there, who can discern a situation for what it is that Karmelo Anthony was guilty. Like she said in this video, nothing was going on. There was no pushing involved. Nothing happened. None of that. It was just from one moment to the other, kid decided he was going to stab the other kid. So Karmelo Anthony took another young man's life and basically ruined his, because he's going to jail for the rest of his life for no reason. And then you had people come online and actually defend what Karmelo Anthony did. Well, you shouldn't be bullying people. He told you to leave him alone. He did this, he did that. We're not the same black people from the past. You can't run up on us anymore. We're going to stab you if you come and try to play us. Like, that shouldn't be your response. Not everything has to have the racial angle. But this was the reason, although this is a totally different case. I don't know if you guys remember the case of that Shiloh Hendricks. I think this was the reason why she raised almost $1 million. Because of the backlash of how white people felt about the Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf case. Because black people made it about race, and it was like, damn, they killed this kid for no reason, and he raised $600,000? Just because some black racists thought, oh shit, this is what we do now to white people who come and attack us? Mind you, nothing had come out yet. Mind you, preliminary reports were saying that there was no reason for him to stab him. Nobody jumped him. The kids didn't even know each other. It's not, because a lot of people were saying that, oh, these kids have been bullying him, all this other stuff. And that was never the case. This was a premeditated murder that a lot of people in the black community actually rewarded with money. Because it just so happened to be a black kid doing it to a white kid. Had it been a white kid doing it to a black kid, cities would have burned down. They would have called it a racial attack, right? They would have called it a racial attack, a racist attack, and then just use that to justify burning down their cities. And I mean, they call this a racial attack too, but nobody gives a shit about black racism. They don't care when black people are racist. Now, we don't know if those were, Karmelo Anthony's motives, that it was because of race. Maybe he just wanted to stab somebody, and he just so happened to find his target, and his target was a white kid. Because why did he have a knife? But the point is, whether or not it was race that was the deciding factor in this, had it been the white kid to do it, they would have made it about race and about how racist white people are across the country. And how racist white people are so bad. And look at racist white people, again, killing an innocent black man. But when it's the other way around, yes, it's a racial attack because they made it about race, but nobody gives a fuck about the racism angle from when it's a black on white crime. Because according to a lot of liberal white people and black people can't be racist, which is utterly stupid on its face. Racism is racism, and I'm seeing it increasingly be more acceptable to be racist towards, I mean, it's not increasingly, it's been open for like over 10 years at this point, where it's literally cool to be racist against white people, and no one says anything. And again, that's why I think there was that backlash with the Shiloh Hendricks case, where she raised almost $1 million because a lot of white people are getting fed up with this. This can't continue to be the case, where white people are getting beat on and abused and all this stuff, and it's nothing. It's nothing. And that black people can openly be racist online towards white people, saying they hate white people, and nothing comes of it. But that's not all, actually. So, according to some reports, Karmelo might be leaving the state of Texas. Mind you, he's on bail, and usually when you're out on bail, you're not allowed to leave the state until after your trial. That is, if you are obviously found innocent. If not, if you're found guilty, you're going to jail. But I have this tweet right here from Sarah is Censored on Twitter. I'm going to pull it up in a second. Here it is. We're going to read it together, and this has to do with Karmelo Anthony supposedly leaving the state of Texas. Might he be trying to run away from his trial in Texas? I don't know, but let's read. Several updates regarding the Karmelo Anthony case. FISD emails and the Anthony family moving out of state. Several weeks ago, I requested emails between staff members that included names such as Karmelo Anthony, Drew Anthony, and the Metcalfs. Yesterday, I received a letter from Frisco ISD written and sent to the Office of the Attorney General from Frisco ISD. This comes after I narrowed my request 3 times, which brought the response from FISD down to 100,000 emails. Insanity. From 100,000 emails to 5,200 emails, which costs reduced to just over $300. This amount was fundraised within an hour. According to the Frisco ISD, on June 16, 2025, the district received correspondence, a compelling interest letter from the Collin County District Attorney's Office, stating that the Collin County District Attorney's Office has a compelling interest in the non-disclosure of any records in the district's possession related to requests like mine or any request connected to the stabbing incident. The letter states that releasing these records would interfere with the investigation and anticipated litigation related to this pending case. This means that from here on out, any request for records regarding the murder of Austin Metcalf will be denied. This also means that indictment is coming very soon. Furthermore, many have asked me about the possibility that the Anthony family has moved from Texas to Louisiana. When Drew Anthony, Karmelo's father, posted about his family's move on Facebook, I immediately screenshotted this post from our records and asked the opinion of a good attorney friend. They stated that this is a bold decision to allow them to move out of state during a murder trial, but it is possible. Either Andrew Anthony is lying about moving or they received a judge's approval. However, according to the public docket, there is no order approving a relocation. I have sent an inquiry to Collin County asking for any minute orders or approvals for relocation or travel for the Anthony family. As soon as I have a response, I will release it. It is very strange that a man who consistently messages and harasses me on a daily basis, accusing me of trying to get his family killed with my reporting, would also post his family's move on a public platform. People who are afraid for their lives don't do this. This is the Frisco ISD stuff. Let's see if I find. Wish y'all nothing but the best. Nothing like the boot. Facts. Welcome back, nephew. Word. You coming to the reunion? You should come. Inbox me. Word. Pull up in the East. Congratulations. Be ready for some jazz. I guess she doesn't have the original post. She just has, I guess, from his comments. But if that's the case and they're moving out of state to protect Karmelo, this is a clear violation of adult law. Again, we don't know. It could just be that his family's moving, but not necessarily that Karmelo is leaving the state up until his trial is finished. Again, this is terrible across the board. This should have never happened. And again, if they're moving out of state, they're breaking the law, obviously. But again, the video that the news has gotten their hands on, which will be shown in trial and which will be used to send that boy to jail for the rest of his life, will show what it will show to people, that this was an unnecessary murder and it was made about race by black people who thought it was cool for black people or for a black person to get revenge on a white person who simply told them to get out of their tent because he wasn't part of their team. Because this is all that was about. Imagine killing somebody and ruining your life in the process because somebody told you to get out of the tent. And again, why did he have that knife on him? He brought that knife because he was intending to use it. Nobody's walking around with a knife at a track meet that they don't intend to use. And he even supposedly warned him. Push me and see what happens. That right there was the intent. Like, I'm going to stab you. So it wasn't a self-defense. It wasn't a crime of passion. And being pushed does not warrant that kind of excessive force, which is what people are using to claim the self-defense angle. And he's not self-defense. So all you idiots who raised money for this guy who clearly committed this crime, I hope you're happy. But you lost your money. And your boy's still going to jail. But that's all I got for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comments. Do you think that that Karmelo Anthony isn't innocent? Or do you think that he's guilty like many people do? You already know where I'm at. I believe he is guilty. He killed that other boy for no reason. And he will have his day in court and probably spend the rest of his life in jail. If you like this video, let me know by hitting the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.